Hello friends, this is Isaiah and you are here. Hope everyone's had a wonderful day today. Hope everything's just going perfectly in your life and that things are going according to plan. What do I want to discuss today? I would like to discuss the subject of friendships. What are friendships? Oftentimes in life we find that they are our closest bonds, sometimes even closer than family ties or family bonds. We have friendships sometimes that follow us throughout the course of our lives, having been brought into fruition when we were at a very young age. However, sometimes friendships, though, are not always the easiest thing to deal with. Sometimes friendships can become very toxic, very volatile, while at other times, friendships are very rewarding, gratifying. I want to kind of talk about the difference, and we're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness in this too. How do we know when a friendship is becoming toxic? When is it time to step away from a situation where we're involved with another person and the things, the activities, or the person's thought patterns, behaviors, or energy becomes destructive to our very own nature? How do we identify that? Well, it's simple. If you find that you're just starting to feel naturally more down, or you find yourself in situations where you're wondering how you got there. Sometimes those things can be linked back to a potentially toxic friendship that we have. Or if we find ourselves in situations where we are going out and engaging in certain activities with a group of friends or a friend that's not always the most healthy for us to engage in. That would be an example of a toxic friendship. Sometimes, though, it's a little harder to tell, and it's not so black and white. Sometimes a friendship can become toxic and we won't even realize it. And that's when it's the most damaging, or usually the hardest to walk away from, because over time we've developed certain patterns and certain behaviors, certain neural pathways inside of our brain that are telling us that everything's okay, but in reality it's not. Usually when that happens, our life starts to break down slowly and we start to notice a series of systematic problems unfold within the realm of our third dimensional existence. And it can sometimes be hard to trace back to any one point, any one situation, or any activity that we're partaking in ourselves. And sometimes we have to evaluate the people that we have allowed into our lives to find out if anybody is allowing, by our own will, something negative to come into our lives by simply having them there or inviting them into our personal space and our personal day-to-day activities. When you find that this becomes a problem, it's absolutely 110% a necessity that you walk away from that individual or individuals. Now, I'm by no means suggesting that we turn our backs on our friends in need. We help people. That's what we're supposed to do. You need to dig deep and do everything that you can to help your friend. You can do this by constructively bringing things to their attention. By constructively bringing things to their attention and giving them the opportunity to change, or giving them a safe place to discuss their problems, or even, if they have a certain need, meeting those needs for them if we can. But if we invest a certain amount of time into someone, if we continually invest energy, and we see that the person that is our friend isn't willing to help themselves, and it becomes a situation where they're just taking advantage of your kindness and you're doing things for them rather than them doing things for themselves, then it may be time to potentially walk away from that situation. Now, the type of friendships that we want to have in our life are the friendships that lift us up, that add to what we're doing, that feed our soul, so to speak. The friendships that we want to have are the people that are our greatest support, that are there with us through the good times and the bad times. That's another biggie. Sometimes we have friends that, when things get a little rough, when things get a little hard, they're the first ones to leave. That's not a true friend. Be wary of that. We're always going to have a continuous series of trials, ebb and flow of life. I've discussed this before. We're always going to have these natural ups and downs, and it's our reaction to these natural ups and downs that determine how long they're going to last in our lives. Well, sometimes we need our friends to help us through those dark times for a temporary basis. But, if they're not there for you, your worst days, just like they are your best of days, chances are it's not a real friend. That's not a person that you want to have in your life. A true friend seeks nothing from you. A true friend is willing to help you in your time of need without expectation of gaining anything in return. And if we're doing what we need to be, and we are offering that of ourselves freely to our fellow man and to our friends, then that in time will just naturally be returned to us. Now, as I've stated in the past, that's not a reason for us to do things for anyone. That's not a reason for us to be charitable or giving. But rather, it's just, you need to know it's just the natural cycle of things, the natural way things work. It's simple. You get back what you give. The energy that you send out into this world, into the environment around you, will be returned to you in the form of like energy. I've said that a million times before. Like attracts like. So we want to be sure that what we're putting out is what we want to see made manifest in our third dimensional reality. Sometimes friends will wrong us. They'll do terrible things, or maybe they just do something minor, but we see an issue of repeated patterns with these friends, and we decide that it's, best for everyone involved that we walk away. Oftentimes, a period of time will pass. Maybe it's a month or two, or maybe it's a couple of years. And sometimes the universe will bring that individual, or try to bring that individual back into your path, and you'll have a decision to make. This is where forgiveness comes into play. Sometimes a person that was once in your life and was toxic needed to leave your life for a period of time in order for them to grow and evolve in their own right. Maybe there was something they needed to learn, or they needed to be away from you for a while for whatever reason. And sometimes they will have the opportunity to be reintroduced back into our lives, but in a different mind state, in a different place that they were before. Or maybe they've just learned from the way in which they wronged you in the past. And it's up to you to decide if you're going to be willing to forgive them or not, and how far that forgiveness should go. Now, obviously, we can kind of tell. Everyone has intuition. It's just all a matter of whether or not you're willing and able to listen to your intuition. But oftentimes in this type of situation, your intuition will be your best guide. With that being said, you'll know if the person you're speaking to that was once your friend is genuine or not. Or, if they're just looking to come back in and just take advantage of you. When it's time to forgive someone and when it's time to just leave things as they are. However, I'm a firm believer in forgiveness. I know myself personally. I've got one friend in particular who's forgiven me more than once for some of my shortcomings and wrongdoings. Now, albeit while they were pretty minor, they were still, they still had to forgive me. They still had to really think about, letting me back into their life. And I'm thankful that they did, because this friend that I'm speaking of is a very dear friend, very close friend to my heart, and, has been my mentor for a really long time and has helped me in many, many ways. And has probably helped me in many more ways that I'm not even aware of. It's just that kind of person. And I want to give that, and I want to offer that in return the best that I can, the same way it was offered unto me. I want to recycle that energy and give it right back, if I can. If the situation is, I guess, safe to do so. We're the only ones that can decide and determine who we allow into our lives, and we need to make sure that they are people that have the purest intentions at heart. Now, I'm not saying that we walk around through life being judgmental and, that we're breaking every single person down and, we're taking inventory of all of their iniquities, because we all each have our own issues and our own problems. So we need to be mindful that we're not being too picky, or that we're judging people with too much haste. But we need to protect ourselves against those who would seek to take advantage of us and do us harm. And, I've found that the only way in life you can really prevent that from happening, almost 100% of the time, is to be putting out what you want to see come back to you in return. Be the good friend. Be someone's best friend. Be the friend that can be relied upon. Be the person that is forgiving. Be the person that is consciously evolved enough to look past someone's potential iniquities and look inside someone and see their true worth beyond what's on the surface level. Sometimes people need to come into our lives in order to learn something and grow and evolve in their own right, and just from being our friend can sometimes improve upon a person's character. So be mindful of that, but do not allow yourself to be taken advantage of, and do not allow yourself to be harmed in any way. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you currently in a situation where, you have someone you think may be taking advantage of you, or a friend trying to come back into your life? I'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts on it, so if you would, just comment in the comments section below. And until next time, my friends, almost forgot. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to this channel. And if there's anyone that could gain any value or insight from any of my content, please don't hesitate to share any of my videos. Now, tagline. I don't know why I'm saying if. It's been a long day. I'm recording this at the end of my day. Until next time, I hope that everything in your life is going according to plan and is serving you in your evolution, and that, while you're going through these processes, you're able to do it with some peace and a smile on your face. Till next time, my friends, I hope that you have much peace in your mind, much love in your heart, much balance in your soul. Take care.